continuing our 2024 wrap up with the worst movies of 2024. Let's talk about them right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I am your host, Frank Zanka. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to jump right into these bad movies. And I'm going to steal this from Sean Chandler. This is not the right list. This is just my list. This is purely my opinions. I do hot takes all the time. But I did get some feedback from my other best of 2024, and people putting on their list, Nosferatu and The Substance and things like that, and I didn't even mention them, and that's because I liked parts of them, but I didn't like the movies as a whole. So I thought that the acting and The Substance was great, and I thought that it had some good ideas to it, but the end ruined it for me completely when, she's walking around, with her skin falling off, with, the punched eyeballs in the face. I was, and everybody's just like, oh, yes, you are brilliant. And then the walking face at the end there, I was done, man. I was so done. So I know a lot of people say, well, that was because it was telling you, it was delivering a message. I don't need a message from my movies. I really don't. You can have a moral to a movie, but I don't need a message, So it totally turned me off. And then Nosferatu, I just found boring. I'm a big Dracula fan, and there's plenty of other better Dracula films out there. Sorry. So to me, both of those movies were average. They were just, maybe slightly above average, but not either one of them I'm going to see again. Even though Margaret Qualley and Demi Moore did a great job, and they were naked all the way through it, but besides that, nothing else about it. But I'm going to do the same thing I did for my my best of, and I'm going to name off the movies I did in case you're watching this for the first time. And this is all the movies I saw for the year. Feel free to jump forward. So, Ministry of Gentlemanly Warfare, Abigail, Civil War, First Omen, Monkey Man, High Heat. This includes streaming films. So High Heat and To Catch a Killer are both streaming films. Godzilla versus Kong, and Roadhouse, Immaculate, Love Lies Bleeding. I'm writing very, very, very small chicken scratch right now. Damsel, Kung Fu Panda 4, Dune 2, which I know a lot of people had Dune 2 on their list. I'm just not a really big Dune fan. Drive Away Dolls, One Love, which is the Bob Marley movie. Madam Web, Lisa Frankenstein, Griselda, Argyle, ISS, Poor Things. I haven't really heard anything about Poor Things at all. I was like an Oscar buzz, but I haven't heard anything about that since. Role Play, Lift, The Beekeeper, and Ghostbusters. I think that's Frozen Empire. There's The Substance, Beetlejuice, The Killer, The Wasp, Reagan, Alien Romulus, Strange Darling, Cuckoo, Borderlands, which just popped up on streaming, Deadpool and Wolverine, Twisters, Long Legs, Trigger Warning, Fly Me to the Moon, Beverly Hills Cop, is it 4? I don't even know what number it is. Maxine, Despicable Me, 4, I don't know, what is that? Horizon, An American Story, Quiet Place, Bike Riders, Firebrand, Hitman, Bad Boys, I think that's Ride or Die, Atlas, Furiosa, The Fall Guy, Challengers, Rebel Moon 2, because the original one was last year, 2023. It's called The Scargiver or something like that. Subservience, which that review has got me over 2,000 views with Megan Fox. That's crazy. Carry On, obviously just came out. Sonic 3. Fire Inside, Craven, Speak No Evil, Werewolves, Bonhoeffer, Gladiator 2, Red 1, Rebel Ridge, Harold and the Purple Crayon, Heretic, which I only saw half of. You can check out my review because I almost got arrested during that one. Nosferatu, Trap, Watchers, Time Cut. Woman of the Hour, Don't Move, Your Monster, Venom 3, Salem's Lot, Smile 2, Girl Haunts Boy, Terrifier 3, Canary Black, which I am still watching. I'm actually really enjoying Canary Black. I'm a huge Kate Beckinsale fan. I'd watch anything that she's in just to see her face. But it's a really good action movie, I thought. It's got very little plot, but I think the action's pretty good. The 6888, Monster Summer, White Bird, Joker, and Saturday Night. I've actually added a couple in here that I forgot that I had seen. But yeah, so that's I think I saw like 75 movies this year that I just named off. So out of that, how many bad movies were there? I do have a couple of honorable mentions here. So let's jump into the honorable mentions before I get into the top 10. All right. So and we're going to break it in the middle so I can, talk about my comics, but you can always, fast forward. So the number 12, this is the honorable mention, Bike Riders, which I know a lot of people really love this movie. I was very disillusioned by it. I was very disappointed by it. I was expecting something around the Sons of Anarchy, but, it was told more like a documentary starring Tom Hardy, Austin Butler, Jodie Comer, Michael Shannon. It's had a great cast, great acting. The story was bad. Especially the ending. By the ending, I just kind of threw up my hands. I'm like, why the hell did I even watch this movie? What was the point? So yeah, I did not like that movie one bit. I walked out of there going, this was more of a streaming film because I just got nothing out of it. All right, number 11, which is my first runner-up. We have Long Legs with Nicolas Cage, Micah Monroe, Kiernan Shipka, which I didn't even recognize her when I saw it. Blair Underwood, of which I'm a big fan of. I wish she would get more roles. Alicia Witt, who I've met several times during her, because she does a lot of things in L.A. where she does her music. So she does live music at little bars, so I've met her several times. And it was directed by Oz Perkins, who is Anthony Perkins' son from Psycho. I did not like this film. I thought that Nick Cage was over the top. You couldn't even tell it was him because he had so much makeup on. But, I mean, right in the beginning, they tell you that the girl is psychic, and then they never mention it again. It's kind of all over the place. The acting is decent, but the story is just scatterbrained all over the place. I just couldn't get into it. But I know a lot of people liked it. I know a lot of people especially liked the cinematography, and I agree. I thought that it looked good, but the story just killed it for me. All right, so let's get into our top 10. But Long Legs did make a shit ton of money, and I'm really glad that since it was a independent film. It would cost $25 million to make, and it made like $100 million. So, good for them. All right, so let's go from my number 10, Woman of the Hour. Directed and starring Anna Kendrick, and also with Autumn Best. This was a waste of time film. I don't think Anna Kendrick has the talent for directing, unfortunately. I think she should stick to singing and acting. There was really no style to this film whatsoever. It is about the killer that goes onto the dating game, and you can actually, it's based on a true story, but you can remove this whole movie from the story and just have the outro, and it would be, they have the intro and the outro would have to be the same movie. There's nothing that happens in that film that affects the killer one bit. Nothing. You can literally just watch the first 5 minutes and watch the last 5 minutes, and it has the same story. Whoever decided to make this film was bad, and then on top of that, the directing is not good. So, all right, so let's jump into number 9. Atlas, a Netflix film starring Jennifer Lopez, Simu Liu, Lana Parrilla from Once Upon a Time. I really like her. I think that she should get more roles. Mark Strong is also in it. He's always good no matter what. He has such gravitas. He demands respect as whenever he's on the screen. But this movie is about a mech, and it's about a woman that has no faith in AI. And Lana Parrilla plays her mom, and she goes on this mission, and all she does is scream through the whole thing, because all she does is fall. It's like, ah! So if you want to hear Jennifer Lopez scream through an entire movie, this is the one for you. I like some of the effects. I like some of the fighting stuff, but overall, it didn't make much sense. And Simu Liu is just not really a likable person. But him as a villain, it just didn't really work. All right, next is the remake. This is number 8. The remake of Salem's Lot with Louis Pullman, Mackenzie Leigh, Bill Camp, and Alfre Woodward. It's a sad day of affair when an early 80s little made-for-TV miniseries outshines a movie from today. The original one was actually scarier. It obviously being a miniseries, it delved into the characters more. This one just did not have it at all. There was a lot of mistakes in story that were made. You don't get to know the storekeeper at all. He's in like 2 scenes and gone, where that was like a major role in the little miniseries. So if you're going to watch either one of them, go back to the early 80s one. It is far superior. This one just did not make it. All right. And then we'll jump into number 7, Civil War. I was looking forward to this film, and it was such a heavy disappointment. They just did not do anything with it. It's basically a road movie, and where it just ends crazy. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the whole motivation of both sides. It just didn't make any sense. None of it made any sense. Starred Kirsten Dunst, Kaylee Spaney, who is also in Alien Romulus, and Jesse Plemons, who's in one scene, and he kind of steals it. So there's not a whole lot to this. It's just purely a slice of life for these war photographers that are navigating a civil war and a takeover of the Capitol because the president is being a dick. I don't know. None of it made any sense. The storyline didn't make any sense whatsoever. And we never really had to see any war. There's no real war going on until we get to the ending. They're going through little pockets of middle America where they have revolutionaries, and that's it. But we never see any war. So the name alone is a misnomer as far as I'm concerned. It leads you in a completely wrong direction from what the actual film is. I thought that Kirsten Dunst did a great job. Kaylee Spaney was a little bit too short for this type of thing, because her up against Kirsten Dunst overtook her every time because she looked like a child. I mean, she was supposed to be young, but she looked like too young. So I wasn't a big fan. All right, so number 6, Madam Web. That is absolutely, I think this is on everybody's list. This is no surprise to anyone that it's on a list. This is a very bad superhero film with Dakota Johnson, who was so unhappy with what happened with the film that she fired her agent over it. She thought that she was joining the MCU and did not realize this was a Sony thing, that Sony saw a Spider-Man film with no Spider-Man. Sydney Sweeney and Isabella Merced are also in it. Of course, Isabella Merced is playing Hawk Girl in the new movie with Superman, and she was also in the Alien Romulus film with Kaylee Spaney, which is funny because that was the one I just said. Emma Roberts plays Spider-Man's mom, and Adam Scott plays Uncle Ben. So there's that. But yeah, the costumes, I gotta say, Sydney Sweeney's costume wasn't too bad, but the other ones were just horrendous. It was just bad. We only get to see them in the costume for about 5 seconds in the film. It is basically a Terminator film with superheroes. The whole thing in the Amazon makes no sense. None of it makes any sense. And of course, we have Spider-Man before Spider-Man even exists. And a lot of people said this, and I completely agree. Some people said they're allowed to use Spider-Man because they own Spider-Man and just are giving it over to the MCU. But I don't know if they're just trying to save money and not have Spider-Man in there. But even if they can have Spider-Man in there, they could have easily had Miles Morales in there. They could have had Haley Steinfeld come in for Ghost Spider, for Gwen Stacy. They could have done so many things to use the villains and still have a Spider-Man movie. So instead they choose the 3 women that are going to be superheroes in the future. It's really bad. It was just a really bad idea. All right. So we're down to our last 5. So before we jump in there, I want to pitch my own stuff here. So if you don't know, as I mentioned, I am a comic book writer as well. This is my vampire mob set in 1950s Hollywood. This is called Lords of L.A. It is a revenge story from a lounge singer in the 50s. Marilyn Monroe is also in this because it takes place in the 50s, and she comes back for revenge about the 2 mob bosses. She doesn't know which one turned her, and the interior art is really good. It is an adult book. There is plenty of blood, sex, and gore in here. This is issue 1. They are both 48 pages long, and I do sign them. I also have digital versions as well if you want to take advantage of that. This is the Katana version. This is the Helene. I call this the Helene cover. This is the Samurai cover, and this is the Were Panther cover. I have a nude version of this as well. And then this is the Marilyn cover with the Nosferatu shadow in the background. Pretty cool, right? So lots of fun. So again, if you want one, let me know in the little comment section below, or you can email me. So also, we have hooked up with Moonstone Books. We are doing a 50th anniversary hardcover Green Hornet anthology. This is not it. I'm just showing an example of what they've done in the past. But we have Timothy Zahn writing it. He created Thrawn for Star Wars. We also have Kevin J. Anderson on this, who did Dune, as well as other Star Wars books. Brandon Easton, who wrote for Marvel for the Peggy Carter series. We have Matt Wagner doing the cover. Lots of great stuff. We're going to be launching at the end of January, so about 30 days from now, we're going to be launching. So you can go to greenhornetnoir.com and get signed up for that. We have a little video there as well. It also has a list of all the writers there. Or you can click the link in the description below, and it'll take you there as well. All right, so let's jump into the final 5. So we have, going off Madam Web, we have The Watchers. So, yeah. The Watchers by Ashana Shalaman, however you say it, Shyamalan. And yeah, this is her directorial debut. And she got $40 million on her directorial debut. Talk about having nepotism. What other director is going to come in on the directorial debut and get that kind of funding? And have Dakota Fanning, who is a great actress, playing in this thing. And what the hell costs this money anyway? It takes place at like a house with no furniture in the middle of the woods. What was the cost of this thing? The movie only started, as far as I'm concerned, the movie really only got interesting in the last 10 minutes. The last 10 minutes of the film is the only interesting part of the entire film. And you have these things in the woods that are literally watching them like it's, a reality show through the window of the. It was, who built this house? This thing was just horrible, just horrible. If you liked it, please let me know why. Because I can tell you that the Chalamet family did not have a good year this year. I'm going to get into that in a second as well. Because back to back with the daughter, I have the dad. Yes, number 4, worst film, Trap. This thing was almost unwatchable. It has a great idea, a great premise. You have Josh Hartnett in this thing, who is awesome, playing this thing completely over the top. God, what was going on here? Alison Pill is in it from Star Trek, which I really don't like her much, but at least she was decent in this. And then you have Salika Knight in here, who was doing the singing, who is, again, nepotism, M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. So you have both of the daughters getting huge amounts of goodwill to this thing and opportunity in 2 bad films out of this. It's crazy how much money that's been involved in this nepotism. It's crazy. And it's really the only thing that it's there for is to showcase his daughter singing. There's no other reason for this film. It's just a bad film. It's just a bad film. And then the woman that they got, she was an older woman that had pretty good credits, but she was completely miscast as the FBI agent. Completely miscast. She was some kind of a profiler or something. It's just, that movie is just completely unwatchable, man. It's just horrendous. All right, jumping into number 3. This is gonna be no surprise to anyone either. I don't really have hot takes on these top 5. I mean, everybody says these things are bad. Joker, Folie à Deux. Did anybody like this film? Did anybody like this film? And how did he spend, what was it, like $200 million on this thing? I met some people that actually worked as like security guard actors in the film. And I heard that on set, they were like, we have no idea what this is even about. What hell is this movie? I didn't like the first movie, which I know the other people really loved it. So for me, this is probably hated it times multiple amounts because I gave it a shot. Harley Quinn was going to be in it. Maybe that he was going to be more the Clown Prince of Crime in it. Maybe I would like it more. I don't think Joker can exist without Batman. But okay, the Penguin pulled it off. I said, okay, maybe we'll give this thing a shot. And Penguin was far better as a series, but the storyline and the characterization was far better than this piece of shit. So we had Joaquin Phoenix reprising his role, Lady Gaga, Brandon Gleeson, Catherine Keener, who is always great, and it was written and directed by Todd Phillips. And chances are his directorial career is going to be on hold for a little bit after this because it was such a problem. You also have, so I'm going to jump to the next one. I really don't want to talk about Joker. It was just, I mean, he escaped at the end and got right back into jail. I'm like, okay, well, maybe here's where the movie's going to start, even though maybe it's only 20 minutes, but maybe we'll get something out of it. And he went right back to jail. And then Lady Gaga was like, see ya, you're a loser. Fuck. What a piece of shit movie. All right, so I could tell that Todd Phillips just wanted out. All right, so let's go to number 2, Rebel Moon, Scargiver. God, Zack Snyder. So I'm one of the few people that like Sucker Punch. I love Sucker Punch. I think that of all the female group things, I like that one the best. But I know people hate that movie with a passion. It's a piece of shit. But I find it charming, and I think the action scenes are good, and I love the set pieces, and there's a lot that I like about it. But outside of that, and maybe 300, there are very few, like the whole DC, Zack Snyder DC thing, I dislike it all. There's nothing I like in the Snyderverse. I know everybody, jacks off on the Snyderverse and the remake of it, but he believes his own hype. He's like, oh, yes, and I did a director's cut that's so much better than the original, but I'm going to release the original because I'm awesome. Am I not awesome? Are you not entertained by my awesomeness? You know, he comes off like a piece of shit. And then he comes off on this film going, this is great. I wanted to do my own Star Wars. You didn't even get close, bro. This looked like a 10-year-old got a hold of $100 million and made a movie. It is so bad. So bad. Both of these parts are so bad. I don't even know why I watched the second one, but people say, well, it was a little better than the first one. I'm like, oh, I'll give it a shot, but I doubt it. And, it was just awful. Sofia Boutella, unfortunately, had to come back with that fucking really bad haircut that made her look like a boy. Ed Skrein is not really a great actor. He kind of ruined Maleficent for me, the second Maleficent. I don't think he's that great actor. Djimon Hounsou, underutilized. Bae Doona, whatever. She had her lightsabers, I guess. But this is a horrible, horrible two-set of film, and I hope that Netflix doesn't go near. I don't hope anybody. He just needs to retire. He just needs to retire, go away, bye. Because he is, and especially writing anything. He never needs to write again. That's for sure. And picking Momoa, I'll never forgive him for this. Picking Momoa to be Aquaman. That's crazy, dude. Yeah, but Aquaman's gotta have tattoos. You have tattoos? That's awesome. I just took a RPG to the chest, man. How am I getting needles in my, to get these tattoos on? Don't worry about it. Nobody's gonna question that. Horrible. And the number one horrible movie for 2024 the award goes to Argyle, with Bryce Dallas Howard, Sam Rockwell, Henry Cavill, Dua Lipa, John Cena, Ariana DeBose, and directed by the legendary Matthew Vaughn. This movie was a complete piece of shit. I was literally squirming in my chair about how bad this film was. And the cast is phenomenal. I don't know why Bryce Dallas Howard gained all that weight. I do not understand it. And then they had her skating, and he had the shot from behind. Her ass was like this big in the shot. But now you see her now where she's directing Skeleton Crew, and she's normal. Did she gain that weight for the film? I don't understand. I don't get it. But they had her doing action scenes and things on skates, and I'm like, what is going on here? It was awful. God, the movie was so bad. I mean, I walked out of there going, God, can I get my money back? Can I get my time back for this thing? God, it was so bad. And poor Henry Cavill, man. He had two movies that had lost its ass. This one and Ministry of General Warfare, which I liked, but it still lost money. And this thing lost a shit ton too. This movie shouldn't even exist. It's so bad. All right, well, that's it for me. and the worst of 2024, let me know. I think that most people, my last five, I think most people agree with. But I don't think there's any hot takes there. There's only probably a few hot takes in that whole list, I think, based on your taste. But yeah, I am going to be doing a biggest money losers of 2024. I may do the box office winners as well, but I don't know about that one. But for sure, I'm going to do a biggest money losers of 2024. All right, well, that's it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next one. Remember to go to the link description below for Green Hornet, or just go to greenhornetnoir.com and get signed up about when we launch at the end of next month. All right? Happy holidays, happy new year, and have a great rest of your week. I'll see you in the next one.